All right, welcome to the Township Council meeting for Tuesday, September 26th. I'd like to call this meeting to order, but before we do that with the salute of the flag from Mr. Wenzel, I also want to make sure that everybody remains standing, for a moment of silence for Councilman Murphy's grandfather, Arthur Lauda, who passed away this past week. So for the Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. Wenzel, we're going to stay in a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Thank you. Mrs. Kraus, can you read the public statement?
Take notice that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with NJSA 10:4-8 and NJSA 10:4-10 as follows. Notice of the meeting was prominently posted on the bulletin board at the municipal building located at 225 Main Street, Little Falls, New Jersey on January 5th, 2023. A copy of the notice was mailed to the North Jersey Herald and News and the Record on the same date. Additionally, a copy of the notice was filed in the office of the township clerk on said date. A link and a telephone number to join the meeting virtually can be accessed on the township website at www.lfnj.com. Electronic provisions have been established for the public to participate during the public comment portion of the meeting.
Mrs. Kraus, can you read the roll call?
Councilmember Patel,
Present.
Councilmember Murphy,
Present.
Councilmember Hablitz, Councilmember Vanchery,
Present.
Council President Scoba.
May I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes for September 18th, 2023?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Murphy, second by Councilwoman Patel. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Mayor.
Roll call.
We need a
Roll call.
for
Yeah,
that
sorry.
one.
Thank you.
Councilmember Patel,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy,
Yes.
Councilmember Hablitz,
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Wenzel. Appreciate that. Mayor, you want to give your update?
Thank you, Councilman. First and foremost, my apologies to Councilman Murphy for the loss of his grandfather. I had a long-standing relationship with both his grandmother and his grandfather, who were neighbors of ours growing up, and saw them for many, many years. And I know with the passing of his grandmother recently and the passing of now his grandfather, my heartfelt, sincere apologies to you and your entire family.
Thank you.
Next, before I begin the updates, or I should say the proclamations for this month, I want to provide an update on the streetscape project in town, as it's also part of this week's agenda, or tonight's agenda. First, the current streetlights that have been installed, PSE&G has now completed the installation of all of the streetlights along Main Street for the completed portion of the streetscape here in town. There is one small section of the project that is not completed. That is because the developer is required to complete that section. There will be several lights tied into that area there. So one or two lights will not have electricity for the time being when this is completed, but PSE&G is scheduled to return, unfortunately, on their time frame to actually connect all of the poles to the electric in the overhead wire electricity, so that we will have actual lights in the streetlights themselves and they'll actually be lit up. So we are waiting for that to happen. I have several communications to them. I'm waiting for some specific dates. It could be as soon as tomorrow. It could be as long as several months on their time frame. So we are waiting for that. I do continue to push to have that completed relatively soon. That will round out with the exception of some very minor items that the engineers are working to address. That will round out the real bulk of the project in our streetscape in these particular sections from Maple Ave all the way up to Union. I talk about the streetscapes in that regard to all that now. Talk about them with respect to a couple of the ordinances that are being introduced this evening, particularly ordinance 1471, 1472, and 1473. There are three bond ordinances that are up for introduction this evening by this council with respect to additional sections of the streetscape. And these are also largely grant-funded portions of the streetscape where the municipality will have little to no expenses ourselves in this massive improvement that we will see. The sections that are currently up for introduction and have already been approved by the DOT with funding are the section on Main Street from Maple to Van Ness, which is up to around the Maggie's area or the Main Line area. It is also up for this evening with Stevens Ave from Main Street to Walnut Street. So a fairly good stretch of roadway there. And there is a third one this evening, which is for Union Ave from Main Street to Walnut Street, which will connect our streetscape to our train station area here in town. So we are going to continue to work to request grants from the state and DOT whenever we have the opportunities to continue the streetscape. I'm proud to say that in just a handful of years, we've now gotten 4 sections completed with 3 additional sections now funded by grants. So we are continuing to move along. We do have other requests out to the DOT and the state of New Jersey for additional grants. The next one that is in the hopper is a request for Main Street from Van Ness Ave up to the Peckman River Bridge, which will be a good stretch, and that will have completed a large section of Main Street after that, if that one is granted. We can then continue to move further west and further east each year, depending on the grants that become available. So those are the ordinances. And now on to the proclamations this evening. The first proclamation is National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month proclamation. In which, whereas September is known around the United States as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and is intended to help promote awareness surrounding each of the suicide prevention resources available to us and our community. And whereas suicidal thoughts can affect anyone regardless of age, gender, race, orientation, income level, religion, or background. And whereas, according to the CDC, each year more than 41,000 people die by suicide. And whereas suicide is the 10th leading cause of death among adults in the US, and the 2nd leading cause of death among people aged 10 to 24. And whereas every member of our community should understand that throughout life's struggles, we all need the occasional reminder that we are all silently fighting for our own battles. And whereas I encourage all residents to take the time to inquire as to the well-being of their family, friends, and neighbors, to genuinely convey their appreciation for them, which may go a long way in helping someone realize that suicide is not the answer. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor James Belford Damiano, on behalf of the Little Falls Township Council, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2023 as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in the Township of Little Falls. And it is also fitting that earlier today, I spoke to our Assistant Business Administrator, Mr. Quattrone, about the installation and final processing of the order of stigma-free signs that are going to be placed around all of the entrances to the municipality. And I say that because the stigma-free motto has a lot to do with there being no stigma associated with mental health issues and those that may need to seek help. And Little Falls is proud to be a stigma-free town, and these signs will be installed at all of the gateways and entranceways throughout town, and the final order is in the process of being approved. So those will also be added throughout town in the very near future. Next is a proclamation regarding Hispanic Heritage Month, in which, whereas Hispanic Heritage Month is an opportunity to celebrate the rich cultural traditions and honor the significant achievements of our Hispanic and Latino American communities. And whereas Hispanics are the largest ethnic minority group in the country and make valuable considerations to the Commonwealth in business, industry, government, education, the sciences, arts, and faith. And whereas Hispanic and Latino Americans have made enormous contributions to our diverse society by sharing their talents, culture, traditions, and their deep connection to family values and a commitment to faith and a desire to live the American dream. And whereas we honor Hispanic Americans and their many contributions, which strengthens our society as a whole. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor James Belford Damiano, on behalf of the Little Falls Township Council, do hereby proclaim September 15th through October 15th, 2023, as Hispanic Heritage Month in the Township of Little Falls. Next up this evening, we have Italian American Heritage Month, in which, whereas October is National Italian American Heritage and Culture Month and has been celebrated as such since 1989. And whereas from the early explorers to the 5.5 million working class immigrants who arrived in the United States around the beginning of the 20th century, Italian Americans have helped shape and develop our nation. And whereas Italian Americans have made significant economic and cultural contributions to our nation in the areas of government, science and technology, arts and entertainment, literature, products and design, and food. And whereas Italian Heritage Month, it is a time to celebrate our Italian American community and to recognize their many contributions to the growth and prosperity of our nation. Now, therefore, I, James Belford Damiano, Mayor of the Township of Little Falls, on behalf of the Little Falls Township Council, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2023 as Italian American Heritage and Cultural Month in the Township of Little Falls. And on behalf of our local Unico, everybody is invited on October 2nd to join us for a flag raising ceremony right here at Town Hall. I believe it will be beginning at 6 p.m. and it'll take place at the front steps here at Town Hall. And the final proclamation this evening for the upcoming month of October is a proclamation for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And it reads, whereas domestic violence is a serious crime that affects people of all races, ages, gender, and income levels. And whereas domestic violence is widespread and affects over 10 million Americans each year. And whereas 1 in 3 Americans have witnessed an incident of domestic violence. And whereas children that grow up in violent homes are believed to be abused and neglected at a rate higher than the national average. And whereas only a coordinated community effort will put a stop to this heinous crime. And whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month provides an excellent opportunity for citizens to learn more about preventing domestic violence and to show support for the numerous organizations and individuals who provide critical advocacy, services, and assistance to victims. Now, therefore, I, James Belford Damiano, Mayor of the Township of Little Falls, hereby proclaim the month of October 2023 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month and urge the residents of Little Falls to work together to eliminate domestic violence from our community. Councilman, that's all of the proclamations that I have this evening, and unless the council has any questions of me, I have concluded my report.
Does the council have any questions for the mayor? Mayor, I have a couple.
Sure.
One is, do you want to talk a little bit about the master plan? You had your first meeting last week, and there's a few more upcoming. So you want to just touch on that and give an update?
Absolutely. We had our first master plan planning meeting last week. It was last Tuesday, and it was hosted at the Civic Center here in town. Unfortunately, the showing by residents was relatively small overall. This is a critical part of the future planning of the township. It has to do with zoning, the types of buildings that people want to see, the size, the height, the density. It has to do with what people would prefer to see as far as all visual aspects of town, as well as many other components. And I urge everybody to attend our future master plan meetings here in town. There are going to be a few more that are coming up. We have one coming up, and I'm looking the dates up at this very moment. The next is going to be on October 12th. There is, nope, I'm sorry, on Tuesday, November 2nd. Nope, that's the wrong year. Here we are. Our very next workshop is going to be on Monday, October 23rd. So anyone that is available to join us, Monday, October 23rd, there's going to be a master plan workshop. It's going to be from 6 to 9 at the Little Falls Civic Center. I encourage all residents to come out and attend. There will be some overlap from the prior meeting, as well as a lot of additional information that we will be seeking to incorporate into a future master plan.
Thank you, Mayor. And two more things. One is, I know Councilwoman Habelis has brought this up. There's an issue with Verizon. Anything new just based on those conversations that you've been having?
No, as of recent, everything has remained the same. They are, again, very well aware of the fact that this is an issue. That doesn't mean that I don't encourage residents to contact Verizon and let them know of their dissatisfaction with their current service that they are providing here to residents. Just because I spoke to someone doesn't mean that additional calls from other people and additional ticket numbers wouldn't help expedite this, because clearly they are not moving very quickly to resolve this. Again, they're aware of it. They have indicated to me they know what the issue is, but have not rectified it yet.
And one last thing, you put an announcement out last week about a new program from the library. You want to talk about that new delivery system?
Absolutely. The Little Falls Library is now offering a program starting this upcoming week that Little Falls residents who have a need or need assistance and cannot make it to the library, They will deliver books to Little Falls residents in conjunction with our DPW, the Little Falls Library on Mondays. Will be able to deliver books, and I say books, but it's also many other things that you can get from the library. And I encourage residents to contact and call the library to place any orders with any books that they may need. I can provide that specific information right now to people in town so that they can do it themselves. The number to call the library is 973-256-2784, and you can request any materials you would like from the library, and they will be delivered on Mondays. Again, this service will also pick up books and deliver new ones if you've completed those or any other services or materials that you request. So they will continue to do that, and they hope to make weekly rounds to individuals in town who can't get out. And I want to thank our library director. I want to thank Ann Kawadi, who is on the board there, and of course, our DPW, who is going to assist in driving our library staff to each of the residents who are requesting books. And Councilman, while I'm at it on another topic, I want to also thank our DPW, because today at our first master plan meeting, there were a couple of residents who indicated that there were a couple of areas in town where stop signs are, I don't want to say completely ignored, but are I call them stoptionals. And some of it is because potentially of the visibility of these stop signs. So what our DPW did is to increase visibility of these stop signs. They ordered 36-inch stop signs with the LED flashing lights on solar panels, and they have installed one at Cedar Grove Road and Main Street, and another on First Ave at where it intersects with Wilmore Road. Those are two areas that individuals, actually, like I said, during the master plan workshop, indicated that they see some issues. And this was something simple. This was not something that I believe needs to be included in a master plan to replace a stop sign in an intersection where we know there have been, people, not necessarily complying with the stop signs every time. And again, if the issue was visibility, we are removing and eliminating that potential excuse that drivers may have. And again, Cedar Grove Road, with it being such a busy intersection there at Main Street, I know there's been several motor vehicle accidents that have occurred there in the past. Adding one there again was an easy solution to help the visibility with these stop signs.
I totally agree. I mean, living on Hobson Ave, trying to make a left, everybody coming from Cedar Grove looks at that stop sign as an option. So you always have a lot of near accidents over there. So that's perfect. Thank you for that update. All right, so let's get to the council member reports. Councilman Murphy, you want to start us off?
Thank you, Councilman. Just first and foremost, I'd like to thank everybody for their condolences and kind words. It does mean a lot. Grandparents both lived in this town for over 20 years. They loved it, and they're definitely going to be missed. So thank you for that. As you heard tonight, the mayor read the Domestic Violence Awareness Month proclamation. We will also be doing a flag raising in October, and we're working to set up a presentation at Passaic Valley High School. We're just waiting on nailing down that date with the super over there. So hopefully we can make that in October as well. This past Sunday was the Little Falls Biz Fall Festival. Unfortunately, I was not able to make it, but fortunately we did have some members from the Domestic Violence Prevention Committee that were there to set up and work the booth. So I just want to take a moment to thank them for being there. They said they had some great input. They had, I think, 2 members that were interested in joining again. So the new member train is running, which is great. As you'll see tonight on the agenda, we do have 4 members that we're formally adding to the committee as well. These are members that have been coming to meetings for the past few months, some of them since January. They've been working booths. They've been coming to the events. They've been tremendous assets already. So I'm just happy to formally see them added to the committee. Another note, this afternoon, Councilwoman Hablitz and I met with our Assistant BA, Mr. Quadrone, as well as our rec department. We went over the calendar and some of the planning on it. We were able to I guess I'm happy to announce we'll be able to keep all the ad space to Little Falls businesses. We're pretty much all sold out on our ad space. So that was a huge success to hear that, and that we're getting that ball rolling. So able to have that meeting. Glad to hear the news that was reported back. I'd like to thank Mr. Quadrone for his work on this. It's been truly appreciated. So thank you again. That's all I have, Councilman. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Murphy. Councilwoman Hablitz?
Thank you, Councilman. Also, my condolences to Councilman Murphy. I was able to meet his grandfather actually at his grandmother's wake. He was such a lovely, cute little man, and I'm very sorry for you and your family.
Thank you.
I was going to mention about the library delivery service. It is a great program that is coming. We all have been talking about it for a while as one of the trustees of the library. And I think it's going to be a great program, especially for our seniors. Thank you for the DPW for the work they're going to be doing. I'm sure there'll be work with the Senior Advisory Board and Council President Scoba, and a lot of his seniors getting the word out there for this great program. I'd also like to mention on the library front that this Thursday, there will be a wellness fair from 6 to 8 p.m. at the library. It's to meet your local businesses that are geared towards improving your health. So great event, stop by the library. I also wanted to mention Farmers Market. This Sunday will be Breast Cancer Awareness Week at the market. Stop by the table for information about breast cancer, as well as the table will be selling merchandise with all of their proceeds going to breast cancer awareness. We have a lot of things going on at the market in October. October, we'll have our annual Farmerween, which is 3 weeks of different events. One will be the doggy costume contest. The following week will be pumpkin painting. And of course, we will end the month of October with our trick-or-treating at the market on 10/29. Also this weekend is the long-awaited yard sale. So this Saturday, the 30th will be our townwide yard sale. If you haven't signed up, it's not too late. You can sign up till Thursday and you will still get your lawn sign as well as be marked on the interactive map. It is $5 and you can register on Community Pass. The $5 is used towards the lawn signs and the advertisement of the event. And lastly, the Spooky Sprint is coming up. That's our Little Falls Run this year. That will be Sunday, October 22nd at 8 a.m. for check-in, 9 a.m. for the race start. It is a costume contest, costume optional, but we will be giving out prizes for best costume as well as runners in age categories. And then lastly, I said lastly, but this is actually lastly, I would like to thank the Little Falls Biz for the successful fall festival. It was a great time. A little rain didn't stop them from putting on a great event. It was moved to the Ties, which is the old Russian Hall, and myself, the mayor, Councilman Vanchery were there, and it actually was a great event. There was a lot of activities there, pumpkin painting, local businesses, great food. It was a good time. So thank you to the Little Falls Biz. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hablitz. Councilwoman Patel?
Thank you, Councilman Vanchery. I also want to give my condolences to Councilman Murphy. Your grandfather was a great man and he truly will be missed. Councilwoman Hablitz spoke about the health and wellness fair at the library. The Clifton Health Department will be there. It's from 6 to 8. They're going to be doing blood pressure screenings and providing information on vaccines, and just general information on how to improve your health. Hand in hand with National Suicide Prevention Month, the Clifton Health Department, in collaboration with Inner Healing Counseling, will be holding a mental health screening on Friday, October 6th, from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Clifton Health Department, which is located at 900 Clifton Ave. It's going to be on the 2nd floor. Although there is no fee for this screening, you do have to make an appointment. You would need to call 973-470-5773 to schedule that appointment. The mental health screening is aimed to address depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, substance abuse, and other mental health issues. It's important to note that this is not going to be a full psychological diagnosis, but they will be able to offer resources and referrals. And you would be able to identify potential mental health issues, receive early intervention, and increase awareness overall. The flu vaccination clinic there's going to be a few of them, but the next one's going to be held on October 19th at Clifton City Hall. The one in Little Falls will be held on October 30th at the Town Hall from 3 to 5, but I'll give another report on that just to remind everyone. And then the Public Health Committee has been working with our IT department. I want to thank Scott. We're trying to figure out the best way to ensure that there's information that's available to Clifton residents on their Clifton Health Department website that's easily readily available to Little Falls residents. We did start adding all the Clifton events and programs to the town calendar. Although it's a small step, it's a start, so we're just getting started. That's all I have, Councilman.
Thank you, Councilwoman Patel. I just have a few updates, but I also want to start off with, Councilman Murphy, again, sorry for your loss. Our thoughts are with you, of course, and your entire family.
Thank you.
Council President Scope is not here tonight, but he did want me to remind everyone about the Harvest Moon Dinner Dance that's coming up on Friday, October 13th at 5:30 p.m. They're looking for a great night of music, dancing, food, bread, butter, and decaf coffee, as he's mentioned several times. So just want to remind everyone, there's still time to sign up. So if you have any questions, please reach out to Tyler Pizarro at the Rec Department. From my standpoint, I do want to thank Officer Pinola. Last week, we had a chance to hold our traffic seminar with the Transportation Committee, as well as some residents that came in. And Officer Pinola did a great job of really just laying out what the Little Falls Traffic Division has been working on. And he answered a lot of questions. As I was mentioning to Chief Brawl before the meeting started, sometimes you see a lot of comments and questions, concerns, whatever, from residents on social media, and they don't reach out to our officers like they should, especially now with our new portal that's in place. And Officer Pinola did a good job of explaining some of the rules of the road that people don't really understand, especially when it comes to private property. So he was very grateful in his time, making sure he answered every question. He explained to how it works with speeding, and how the report system is now in place if there is a complaint, the research that's done. So really appreciate what he did. We're looking to have another one probably sometime the end of this year, if not in early 2024. I'm hoping to have more people, of course. I know it was a weird night with so many different activities, the master plan and sports going on at the rec center, but it was really a good informative program that we're looking to have more of. As the mayor mentioned too, on Monday at 6 p.m. outside of here, we are going to do the Italian-American flag raising. So we invite everyone to attend. The members of Sake Valley Unico will be there. I had a chance to talk to their club president yesterday. They're also going to bring some coffee, espresso, and some pastries. As you're there to raise the flag, you kind of sit back and relax afterwards. And then just I want to mention a couple other events that are coming up. The rain, obviously, this past weekend threw a wrench in the St. John's Russian Church annual parade that they have on Saturday, on the 30th from 12 to 6. So if you're around, please stop by. There's a lot of great food that's there. And then just the Little Falls PBA 346 has their annual Oktoberfest coming up next Saturday on October 7th. They're going to have a lot of different activities, food trucks. There is a cornhole toss competition. I know several of us, including members of the police department, are entered, some folks from the council, mayor, as well as our rec department. So we're looking forward to that. That's it for me. So the one thing I want to do is, Mrs. Kraus, I have the information here about the council committee appointments, and they don't require a vote. So I just want to make sure everyone knows, put this into the record. For the Domestic Violence Prevention Committee, the community representatives, 4 members are being added: Donna Tanis, Kelly Amico, Patricia Costa, and Angelica Luciano. So there's no vote that's required, so we'll just put them into the record. Mr. Wenzel, anything on your end?
Nothing on my end, other than to also express my condolences to Councilman Murphy. I'm sure that his grandparents were very proud of him, and in a way continue to be very proud of him in his accomplishments and service to the township. So
Thank you.
I'm sure you can rest easy on that.
Thank you. All right, can I have a motion and a second to open a meeting to public for agenda items only?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Patel, second by Councilman Murphy. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Mrs. Kraus, can you read the public comment?
Anyone wishing to address the Township Council may do so through the Council President. It is preferred if you give your name and address for the record. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes. However, if appropriate, you may be granted additional time in the sole discretion of the Council President. Members of the public who have joined the meeting virtually and desire to provide comment shall raise their virtual hand in the Zoom application. The meeting moderator will cue the members of the public that wish to provide comment, and the Council President will recognize them in order. Members of the public who have joined the meeting by calling in must press *6 to mute and unmute themselves and *9 to raise their hand. Members of the public who have joined the meeting via the Zoom application must click the reactions icon and then the raise hand icon. Once the process is complete, we will return to the regular order of business.
Thank you, Mrs. Kraus. The floor is open. Mr. Cucci, is there anybody online? Okay. Can I have a motion and a second to close the public comment?
So
moved.
moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Hablitz, second by Councilman Murphy. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Can I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda at this time?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Murphy, second by Councilwoman Havelitz. Mrs. Kraus, can you call the roll?
Councilmember Patel,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy.
Yes.
Councilmember Hablitz,
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery.
Yes. Mrs. Kraus, can you read ordinance number 1471?
Introduction of ordinance number 1471, an ordinance entitled Bond Ordinance to Authorize the Undertaking of Streetscape Improvements at Main Street from Maple Street to Van Ness Avenue in by and for the Township of Little Falls in the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $1,050,000 to pay the cost thereof, to appropriate a state grant, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, with a second reading and public hearing scheduled for October 16th, 2023.
Thank you, Mrs. Kraus. Can I have a motion and a second to introduce ordinance number 1471?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Havelitz,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Patel. Mrs. Kraus, roll call?
Councilmember Patel,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy.
Yes.
Councilmember Hablitz,
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery.
Yes. Mrs. Kraus, can you read ordinance number 1472?
Introduction of ordinance number 1472, an ordinance entitled Bond Ordinance to Authorize the Undertaking of Streetscape Improvements at Stevens Avenue from Main Street to Walnut Street in by and for the Township of Little Falls in the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $750,000 to pay the cost thereof, to appropriate a state grant, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, with a second reading and public hearing scheduled for October 16th, 2023.
Thank you, Mrs. Kraus. Can I have a motion and a second to introduce ordinance number 1472?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Murphy,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Havelitz. Mrs. Kraus, roll call?
Councilmember Patel,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy.
Yes.
Councilmember Hablitz,
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery.
Yes. Mrs. Kraus, can you read ordinance number 1473?
Introduction of ordinance number 1473, an ordinance entitled Bond Ordinance to Authorize the Undertaking of Streetscape Improvements at Union Avenue from Main Street to Walnut Street in by and for the Township of Little Falls in the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $750,000 to pay the cost thereof, to appropriate a state grant, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, with a second reading and public hearing scheduled for October 16th, 2023.
Thank you, Mrs. Kraus. Can I have a motion and a second to introduce ordinance number 1473?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Patel,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Havelitz. Mrs. Kraus, roll call?
Councilmember Patel,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy.
Yes.
Councilmember Hablitz,
Yes.
Councilmember Vanchery.
Yes. Can I have a motion and a second to open the meeting to the public for general matters only?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Murphy,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Patel. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Mrs. Kraus, can you read the public comment?
Anyone wishing to address the Township Council may do so to the Council President. It is preferred if you give your name and address for the record. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes. However, if appropriate, you may be granted additional time in the sole discretion of the Council President. Members of the public who have joined the meeting virtually and desire to provide comment shall raise their virtual hand in the Zoom application. The meeting moderator will cue the members of the public that wish to provide comment, and the Council President will recognize them in order. Members of the public who have joined the meeting by calling in must press *6 to mute and unmute themselves and *9 to raise their hand. Members of the public who have joined the meeting via the Zoom application must click the reactions icon and then the raise hand icon. Once the process is complete, we will return to the regular order of business.
Thank you, Mrs. Kraus. The floor is open. Just your name for the record, Mr. Clerk.
Well, you can have my address too. I'm very happy.
You don't have to,
about
it's
it. Jim Doran. So I spoke with Councilwoman Hablitz several times about the a venue for the farmers market. And it became very topical when it got rained out last week. And some possibilities, I think, would be to canvass the vendors and potential vendors. Would they want to, for example, maybe half of them, maybe some would want to pay extra for spaces in a an indoor location that might either have a cost or might be too small to accommodate all, or some sort of a lottery that would maybe take, if someone was at one session, maybe their name could be taken out for the next session. But I think some thought should be given to being able to continue the farmer's market both in the winter and in inclement weather. Once you start coming to it, you may very well find things that you'd like to be able to pick them up again in short order. I do have good news to share for you. The weather forecast for next Sunday looks fabulous. But,
Thank you, Mr. Durant.
And
Councilwoman, I was gonna say before you go on to something else, Councilwoman Hablitz, do you want to address it? This is
Sure.
what You've been looking into.
Thank you, Ms. Doran. Thank you for your input and thank you for your patronage at the market every week. This is something that we're looking into. We do have a limited amount of space for a winter market. I know a lot of the vendors are asking for it. We do have a limited amount of space, but we are looking into the possibility of seeing if we can do something at the Civic Center. The lottery would be a great idea. And again, thank you for your input. But we're going to see what we can do, for days when there is inclement weather. We are currently a rain or shine market. It wouldn't be such a bad idea of having, a second venue if it's really raining, and for the winter. So thank you for your input. We are looking into it.
I'd like to offer my condolences as well. I know that obviously your grandparents have something to be quite proud of. I know myself as a parent. Bear with me a second here. It slips me at the moment, but I'll see you next time.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
The floor is still open. Mr. Cucci, is there anybody online?
There's not.
Okay. Can I have a motion and a second to close the public comment?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Patel, second by Councilwoman Havelitz. Can we call for a voice vote? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, so can I have a motion? Well, before I do this, before I adjourn the meeting, I do want to recognize tomorrow is Mayor Damiano's birthday, so I want to wish him a very happy birthday. I think he turns 30 tomorrow, so but just, thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for pulling this meeting together. I know it's a little awkward being on a Tuesday versus a Monday, but thank you for that. So can I have a motion and a second to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Murphy,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Hablitz. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.